just be very careful with.
How do I get rid of the bug? Oh shit.
Welcome back here to Dominico Field. The London Majors taking the lead, and the Maple Leafs will need a run to try and send this one back to London. Grant Tamane will lead things off, then Greg Carrington. Pitch is low and in the dirt. Bo Lewington still out there on the mound for the Majors. Sorry, Braden Farrington now.
We believe, anyways. No, that is Lewington.
Similar stature, yeah, it's Bo Lewington.
And you can't blame Bruce Chanardad. I mean, obviously, had Braden Farrington on standby up in that bullpen. What's this one? 9-8.
No, it's 8-7.
8-7?
Pitch is well outside.
A leadoff walk.
Grant Tamane again for the third at bat in a row will be on base.
And I have to wonder if that's going to be it for him. They go right to Rip Chanardad. Excuse me, Braden Farrington, not Rip Chanardad. And that is indeed going to do it. So we'll have time to continue to get this broadcast up and going. The bug barking and
so new pitcher coming to the ball game. We'll have that when we come back. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. The emotions that must be going through the head of these Toronto Maple Leafs baseball players in this moment, squaring to bunt, and Fernando Fernandez delivers low and away, ball one.
Fernando Fernandez pitching this game is quite incredible. Also, it makes sense from a tactical standpoint. You got Carrington the lefty, Vinicio the switch hitter, and then a couple straight lefties. But to bring him in this spot after throwing over 80 pitches one day ago, on 1 day rest, I should say, on he pitched 2 days ago, and so he's on 1 day's rest. It really is quite something. But they're going to ride and die with their best guy, just like the Leafs try to do with Castro and Hernandez.
Squaring to bunt again, and bunting right through a pitch down the middle is Greg Carrington. That counts 1-1.
And the Leafs' idea with this is that they want to tie the game and send to extra innings and turn this into a battle of the bullpens. Hope that Franklin could be better in the 10th inning, with the inning clean, but giving out to Fernando, it's not easy.
Squaring to bunt again, and it's strike 2.
And now you can't even bunt, or you shouldn't be bunting with 2 strikes. Because Fernando, throws back-to-back strikes, and Carrington was not able to lay a bunt down.
The biggest at-bats of the season coming up for 8-9-1 for the Maple Leafs. Tamane trying to make as much havoc as he can as this one's fouled off, and that was a heroic piece of that baseball that Greg Carrington got on the breaking ball. Fernandez with a 2-strike count. Here it comes. Swinging a ground ball to first base. Foul ball. Foul ball.
You would have to think, I believe that's Phil Whalen. We've had so many changes. Confirmed that's Gibson Kraminski at first base. We now have Bowles behind the plate, Mullins out of the game, Kraminski at first base, McQueen at third base, Taylor Wright at shortstop. The outfield remains the same. You'd have to think they would have gone to simply first base on that play and let Tamani go to second base, because otherwise that would be a tough play for the first baseman to make all the way to second.
A heroic 5-run top of the 9th inning for the London Majors. Fouled off once again. Greg Carrington just barely staying alive against Fernandez. Jose Vinicio is on deck.
And no matter what happens, even if Carrington grounds into a double play, at least we'll have the top of the order up. Vinicio representing, in that case, would be the last out, as at least we'll have some of the top guys batting this inning, which is what you want if you do go and lose a ball game.
Fouled off again by Carrington. Refusing to go down. Fernando Fernandez with a 1.37 ERA in the playoffs. 17 strikeouts and 19 2/3 innings pitched.
They do have their backup catcher in. I wonder if Tamani goes.
Not going. Pitch is low and away. A great take by Greg Carrington.
2-2. Fernando's coming in. He saw a lot of strikes, only 2 balls thrown in this inning for him. 6 strikes.
A throw to first. And this is some of the most noise we've seen.
Yep.
Everyone at the ballpark on the edge of their seats or on the edge of whatever they're sitting on along the hillside, trying to will the Toronto Maple Leafs back into this ball game. Down by 1. The pitch. Swinging a ground ball. This is to second base. Throw to second for 1. On to first. Double play. The London Majors are 1 out away.
And that's not what you wanted if you're the Maple Leafs, to say the least. And it is now going to take a rally of all rallies. A game that looked like it was, the Leafs almost had it. It was 8-2, excuse me. It was 7-2 with 2 out in the 8th inning, and Taylor Wright hits a solo home run. Fair enough, it's 7-2. It was a 7-3 in the 9th inning. It just didn't happen for the Maple Leafs. And it's interesting here if they go to Brandon Farrington instead of Fernando Fernandez. The IBL does not have the rule that you have to face 3 batters, but yeah, that was one of the great comebacks in IBL history in the top of the 9th inning, off of Castro, off of Fernandez. A lot of it was self-inflicted by the Maple Leafs. Franklin Hernandez threw a ton of pass balls or wild pitches, spiking a lot of pitches that led to London batters taking 390 feet all over the place. But one of the great comebacks in IBL history, to say the least.
The London Majors trying to go back-to-back.
Now, if Vinicio does get on, he doesn't need to be up here going for a home run. Just get on base, because for him, a walk can be a triple, a base hit can be a triple. And you let it come down to the hands of Jordan Castaldo, but you have to get on base.
Swing and a miss, strike one. The London Majors standing in the dugout, 1 out away. Jordan Castaldo on deck. Jose Vinicio trying to get on base. He's got 1 strike on him. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Vinicio was looking for the fences on that one. And now the Leafs are down to their final strike.
And I think London, should they close this out, which is also looking likely at this point, they'll get Jacob Newton will be the playoff MVP, but my goodness, Fernandez, what a season he's had.
Trying to end it here. The 0-2. Over the inside corner, strike 3 called. The London Majors are atop the Inter-County Baseball League for the 2nd year in a row. An 8-7 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. This time in Game 6.
The Leafs were up 7-2 with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Taylor Wright hits that home run to make it 7-3, but even then, you're up by 4 runs heading to the 9th inning, and London did the impossible, turning a game that they thought was over. They brought in Bo Lewington to mop up the game and get ready for a Game 7. And instead, the London Majors have gone back-to-back as IBL champions.
Well, the London Majors with one of the comebacks of all comebacks. 5 runs in the top of the 9th inning. The Leafs thought they had sent it back to London, as they did at this time a year ago. But the Majors are Dominico Cup champions once again.
And that's a loss that if you thought Game 5 for the Maple Leafs stung last year, this one's definitely going to sting them. The whole season about unfinished business and getting back in this spot, and they were so close to getting back to that spot that they won in Game 7 against London, game on the line, season on the line. But London stops that from happening, and no question, I always say the team with the best pitching staff almost always wins, and London has done just that this season. They have the best pitching staff. Fernando Fernandez, the X factor in the postseason, and London's gone back-to-back, and rightfully so. They're the best team in the IBL.
And the front office putting together another incredible team. And if that wasn't all demonstrated in that 9th inning to come back against the Toronto Maple Leafs, they could not find an answer in the form of Franklin Hernandez. And Fernando Fernandez is the one that gets it done. Well, a huge thank you to everyone who was watching on YouTube all season long, and all the Toronto Maple Leafs fans. And boy, was it ever a fun season to come back and see what it's sometimes the ragtag team of Toronto Maple Leafs, but most of the time was an unbelievable baseball team that put their heart and soul into it to bring it down to the wire once again.
Yeah, and that's why you feel bad for them, right? Because obviously they came so close. And veterans like Marcus Connect and John Salazzo and Dan Marr, a few other guys just won the championship for the first time. And they weren't able to, and obviously to close out the broadcast, we'd have to mention that this whole season is also dedicated to Jack Dominico and his wife Lynn, who passed away in 2008. And this team wanted to do everything possible to get them a championship, and obviously Damon's dad, Papa Tops, passed away a couple weeks ago too, and that was another rallying cry for the Maple Leafs. This wasn't meant to be, but as you said, this was a blue-collar group that went right down to the wire against the best team in the league, and a lot of the guys should be quite proud of the effort and the whole organization, because again, you go back to early January, Thomas, when I remember when Damon Topley phoned me to say that Jack Dominico passed away, I truly had no idea if this team was going to operate this season. And they operated. We did a lot of cool things I like to think in terms of advancing this franchise forward. But a great season came to an end. Just one game too short.
And although it wasn't a championship for the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, an incredible effort and one of the heart and soul variety to bring it down to the wire is the controversies at the beginning of the playoffs and the dedication to a couple people who are extremely special to this Toronto Maple Leafs organization. And a massive congratulations as well to the London Majors for an unbelievably well-fought series as it was last season, as the Maple Leafs fans here at Dominico Field acknowledge a great effort this season by their Leafs.
They chant "Go Leafs, go!" and the fans salute them, but no question that's not a seat on the field right now that those guys want to see. And for the guys that come back next season, that's going to be added fire. I know it seems impossible, right? London's been back-to-back, and they did it so against the Maple Leafs. But again, I was with the Baycats for many, many seasons when the Leafs were, or when the Baycats kept losing the Brantford Red Sox, but eventually they beat the Brantford Red Sox. So you hope that a lot of those guys come back next season and finish off the business again, once again.
And Ryan and I look forward to joining you next season as well from the Inter-County Baseball League here in Toronto. So for one last time, from Thomas West and Ryan Eakin, this is Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust.